Hey guys, welcome back to Super Switch U. I'm actually really excited today because something happened at work that I would love to show you guys, and I will, instead of trying to show off the phone, I'll put pictures up here in a minute. Uh, it's something that I haven't seen anybody else talk about yet, so I might be one of the first ones to catch some pictures of this. So stick with me for a bit, we'll get back to that. But also, kind of want to talk about some other stories that have surfaced, like Capcom being Capcom and Pokemon news. So let's just kind of jump in. So the thing uh, really just it's got me pumped, right? A lot of people have been seeing Switches out or Switch 2s, sorry, out in the wild, right? Like at retail stores, some people got a hold of it, open up the box. A few games have kind of leaked out because people have seen it in the back room of retailers. And as I've mentioned before on this channel, I work for Pepsi. And so there's a few stores that I service that could potentially have these things somewhere back there. Like I can't go dig for this stuff, so I just have to hope that I'm there at the right time to see something cool. And today, 8 days before the Switch 2 launches, I got to see something cool. So, like I said, I'm going to pull up a picture, but hold on, I usually do this side, don't I? I just want to be consistent, is all. So, we'll pull up the picture, but what I caught, uh, one of the stores, I won't say who. I'll try to mark out exactly who on the picture. Um, because I don't know how much would actually get me into trouble if I talk about it. But one of the stores that I have on my route got a pallet today from Nintendo. Like it said it on there. It had Switch 2 labeled on it. Really freaking cool. But it was not the system and it was not the games. Okay? This is the thing that's really freaking awesome. It was a display. And it was massive. Like there was a lot of things to this pallet. There's like 6 or 7 different massive boxes, a few small boxes, and I didn't get like a great picture because again I was trying not to get caught like sitting there taking pictures of their stuff. But on the side there's a thin box, and it is a display like it's a TV screen or a monitor screen or something. But like you could tell from the box, it's a screen that they're gonna put up. And I started speculating because talked to like the receivers and stuff, and they didn't know. There was no breakdown. They couldn't find diagrams or anything of this display. So we just kind of speculated back and forth. And so, like, one obvious thing is it probably got like a nice case to put the systems in and the games, and it's all decked out. And uh, I got theories on that screen, okay? Because it's probably like one of two things, since it is actually part of that. It's not like it wasn't a pallet of just random stuff going into the store. Like the entire shipment was dedicated from Nintendo, so they sent this screen. I think it's either going to be so they can just show gameplay footage, or the better thing, the really cool thing that would be out there is they might have a Switch 2 hooked to this thing with like the Joy-Con 2s attached to it, so you can play demos of the game in the store, kind of like they used to do in retailers like Target, Kmart, Walmart, stuff like that. They used to have demos for game systems up. It could be that. It could be something to try to convince people that they need to have this system. There's just a way to sample it. Um, but again, nobody opened it while I was there. Uh, I don't know that they're even going to touch it until at least next week. But freaking awesome that I was there when this thing, like, they just got it delivered while I was there. Like, I walked in and it was dropped off and checked in. Um, yeah, like it was, I've been waiting. I've been like keeping my eyes peeled for anything that looked like Switch 2 because I was like, I'm going to catch it. I'm going to find something cool to be able to share with you guys. And this was the thing. Not quite as awesome as if I had found game cases or accessories or the systems, but still, the display stuff. And I also, after catching the first picture, so I was a little worried about trying to catch this picture again. There's a massive box that ended up on top of this thing. They like moved it to a different area, but I could still kind of see it. And they moved this big flat box on top, big old red label on top, said Nintendo Switch 2 signage. So there's all kinds of stuff that's going to go up in this store just for Switch 2. So it'll be exciting to see what that becomes. And one of the days I work after all this gets put up, I'll be able to see it and then share it with you guys and be like, okay, so this is the thing we saw. Um, but that's all I got to say on that for now. But just there you go. There's my little bit of exclusive coverage. Put the detective cap back on. I found it. I went undercover and I found it. I'm proud of myself. So the other things, Capcom being Capcom. I know I'm probably late to this party, but Street Fighter 6 just came out that on top of being the game key card that we know it is, there is now a code in these boxes that expires within like 2 to 3 years that has all the DLC attached to it. So the DLC is not even part of the first download you have to do with the cartridge. It's separate, and that's going to be attached specifically to your account. All the year one fighters and two fighters and all the extra stuff that you're not going to be able to sell off. You're not going to be able to trade it. That is stuck to you. So your game key card keeping value or whatever, like that's out the window. You're like half value now, and like a lot of people seem to be surprised by it. And I was just sitting there and laughing when I heard it. I'm like, man, that's the same crap that they did with Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2, because only the first half of that collection was cartridge, the other half was a download code. They did the same crap with Mega Man X Legacy Collection because the second half of that thing was a download code. They did that with Resident Evil 4. It was supposed to have 5 and 6. Those were download codes. They did it with Resident Evil Revelations. Instead of getting Revelations 2, it was a code. They did that with Resident Evil 0. It was supposed to have 1. 1 was a code. Devil May Cry over in Japan was a physical release, but only the first one. 2 and 3, it was a digital code that I was not able to use in the US. Um, hey, that is nothing new for Capcom. Anytime they get the chance to cheap out, they're going to cheap out on you. But no, I'm not surprised that the DLC is download code. It's not surprising. It's just sort of funny at this point because you blame Nintendo, 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 but Nintendo didn't tell them to put all that DLC on a worthless piece of paper, and you download it and then you throw it away and then nobody else gets to have that DLC. So what was the point? What was the point to it? You now have to do two separate downloads. You're going to download the game, and then it'll start the download for the DLC. So, nice waste of time on top of everything else. Um, there's also Pokemon news. I kind of feel bad throwing this at the end, but it was also exciting because we got the release date for Pokemon Legends ZA, and that is October 16th of 2025. And they gave us the artworks, so now there's the cover art is out there for both the Switch 2 edition and the Switch 1. There's pricing in some countries, but US does not have the official one. If I had to take a guess, $59.99 for Switch 1, $69.99 for Switch 2. That's just sort of a Switch 2 tax there for Switch 2 editions that don't have all the extra content to it. So it's probably going to cost you a nice $70, but you've got until October to figure it out. So there's a little bit of a break, I suppose. Still nothing for Metroid Prime though. The other piece of Pokemon news is there's a Pokemon Presents on July 22nd. When there's already rumors for a Nintendo Direct the first week or two in June, either the week of Switch 2 or the week after. I would probably bet the week after, but Some people are coming out and saying that it's kind of lining up with Summer Games Fest, and I think that is the week of Switch 2. So maybe. But something in June makes sense because they always do something in June because E3 used to be in June, and we don't have that anymore. But we've got that Summerfest and also just summertime. Talk about your games. At some point, I'd like to really do a thorough prediction for that. Uh, Only thing I'll leave you with now is maybe there's a WarioWare in our future, but I couldn't say for sure if that's going to be in this direct or not. It just makes way too much sense with the mouse controls to not do something WarioWare. Either a brand new game that just utilizes it completely, or, and just hear me out, could be a DIY like the DS had, WarioWare DIY, where you build your own games. If they did some kind of a sequel, added a bunch of stuff and some customization options there. Can't talk, but I'll get it. But the mouse would actually work really well with that. And something we usually get pretty early on in Nintendo console lives is WarioWare. So that's going to be my first prediction for the year of this direct. But I'll do a video and try to predict everything else at some point. Preferably before it comes out, because it's going to be really embarrassing if I do it after. Um, but the point was the Pokemon Presents, because you've got a direct possibly happening in June, and a Pokemon Presents in July. Then obviously there's something that they don't want to be overshadowed in a Nintendo Direct. Yeah, July is before October, and they'll talk about ZA, and they got the mobile apps and all the little games. But we already got a Pokemon Presents this year that talked about ZA and the mobile apps and all the little things. So why would they do a second one? That's pretty obvious. There's something. There's something Switch 2. And they couldn't talk about it in the first Pokemon Presents because Switch 2 had not been fully announced at that point. So they couldn't talk about it. I think they're going to talk about it. And I got two thoughts for that too. Originally, I was just thinking it was going to be like another mainline game, whether that was a remake or a new entry. I was leaning heavily to that, but I was listening to a guy. It's not one of my regulars, but I was listening to somebody talk about it today, and they mentioned Pokemon Rangers would be perfect with the mouse controls because of all the drawing and stuff. And that makes way too much sense to not be possibly mentioned at least in the Pokemon Presents. Either a remake of the first one or just finally giving another entry to that series. And if that happened, I would probably give those games another chance cuz I didn't really get hooked to it on the DS. But I would definitely give it a second chance if it showed up on Switch 2. Um, see, those three things. Was there something else? Um, see, Farming Simulator got announced for Switch 2. Woo. Uh, oh, I was kind of doing some searching around Play Asia and found something interesting. Tamagotchi Plaza. Trying to make sure I didn't say Tamagotchi Life. Tamagotchi Plaza has a physical release end of June, July, somewhere in there. Um, it's a Switch 2 edition, I think. No, it wasn't. I don't think it was. I think it was just a standard game. Um, Either way, Play Asia is showing it as a physical game. So, just another one to that catalog because even if we don't get it in the States, you can import that for a nice hefty tariff tax, probably. Just speculating at this point. Um, you could import that and play it as long as it supports English. It did say it supported multi languages, so it's a possibility. I don't know if it's something that I need, but full physical game on Switch 2, I gotta build that library somehow. And right now it's looking a little slim. Uh, Tiny bit better for games though. Uh, I don't remember what I said the last time I gave an update on Switch 2 pre-orders, but now my pre-orders are all over the place. So, GameStop, I got the system, I got the Mario Kart, and now we've got a screen protector pre-ordered. And the one thing I didn't think I would be doing, and I feel like it's almost blasphemy for how much I've talked crap about key cards and code in a box, but the wife wanted Split Fiction, so we've got Split Fiction pre-ordered. Um, there was some rumors kind of floating around about maybe two copies, like two digital codes in the box. Maybe it was a friend pass. We weren't really sure, so we just went ahead and went with the one in the case. Worst case scenario, I could just take everything out of that and have a backup case for whenever games start showing up used in places. And if I get one without one, I could just buy it and build it up myself. Um, but we were gonna pay $50 either way, so might as well have it where we could slowly pay it off because we're broke. And so we got that. She has Hogwarts Legacy pre-ordered through the eShop, and then I'll have whatever you guys vote on Friday. I think that was the cutoff. I'll go back and check myself, but the end of the week we'll know what game won. And the last time I checked it, it was Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. So we may end up having that pre-ordered through the eShop. And then good old Best Buy, I've got a decent chunk of stuff pre-ordered. You know what? I forgot to mention Donkey Kong was pre-ordered at GameStop, but it is and it's paid off. But Best Buy, Cyberpunk 2077, which when I get all the stuff figured out to do live coverage and stuff on release night, Cyberpunk will be missing until later that day because I don't know that my store is doing a midnight release. And I'll be honest with you, the last thing I want to do at midnight is drive all the way to Midwest City. That's like a 30-minute drive just to pick this game up. I'll wait till they open the next day when I'm already sleep deprived anyway. But pick up Cyberpunk and my case. And then September 5th, I've got one other thing pre ordered. It is not Star Wars Outlaws, it's Daemon X Machina. So we got that paid off. Um, kind of interested in one other game, but I haven't pre ordered it. It's Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. Like, it was interest enough not for me to buy just for myself, but my wife's interested in it too. She likes the farming and life sim part of it. I like the action combat part of it. So it's just enough interest, I think, that we could probably uh, justify spending like $70 for a Switch 2 edition. But I don't think we're gonna have the money right away. Have to wait until all those coupons and rewards and stuff come back from GameStop and hope that they have a copy that I can just go pick up. Um, so that should be a nice hefty like $50 gift certificate in reward points for all the money that I've spent now over there. Um, but yeah, uh, I think that's all that I wanted to cover. So uh, let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. If you're happy or sad about the stuff with Street Fighter, if you're super excited about the Pokemon news and the release date being out there, um, if you're like stoked that I got any kind of little bitty early details of Switch 2 stuff and hope that I can catch something else because if I do, I'll bring it back to you guys. But for now, like that's all I got. Or just if you want to talk about anything Switch 2 at all, comment down below, and we'll talk about it. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.